Or to the cloud. Hi guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to New Coach Call. Tonight we have a super special Diamond guest leader, Hannah. She is going to go over Insta stories. She has a presentation to share for you guys. Take tons of notes. If you have questions while she's talking, throw them in the chat so we can tackle those at the end. Without further ado, you can take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Danny. All right, you guys, I'm just going to take you through a whole bunch just because with Insta stories, there's so much you can do. I had so many thoughts. So that's why I asked Danny to record this so you can go back because I'm just going to like rapid fire go through. And so if at the end, anything you want me to go into more detail, please do. So first, just the basic of why Insta stories are important. So obviously your posts are important in your feed. You have to be posting daily, but those are a little bit more polished. And those give kind of the big ideas, the drawn out, like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm feeling. Insta stories are kind of giving you the backstage pass into your life. And it's really how people are going to get to know you. It gets them into your house, into your life, into who you truly are, and lets them know the real you. So it should be working in congruency with your posts in your actual feed to be telling a full, complete story of who you are and what you are doing. But the big thing, you guys, is people have normal lives. So they want to see how all of this works in a normal life. Of course, some people are going to be following those top coaches and they want to see the big, extravagant lifestyles, and like, those are cool. And people really do this often because they want the lifestyle. Maybe they want to be a stay-at-home mom. They want to be able to travel. They want to have the girl gang. And so it is cool to see those like top coaches going on these grand things and having these huge mansions or whatever. But really, the people they're going to want to join with are the normal people, the people who they can actually see themselves in their lives. And so that's really where Insta stories are going to let you do that. They want to see how it works in the mundane. And I know for me, when I first started, I was like, what am I going to post about? Especially at the time I was working an 8-to-5 job. I didn't have any pets. I didn't have any kids. I was like, what do I have to post about? Everyone has something to post about because we all are working out. We're all reading things. We all are eating. We're all having Shakeology. We all have friends. We all live. Like, you do something with your day. Show that, right? And what it also does, other than letting people get to know you, it shows your consistency, it helps you stay top of mind, and it gives them something to get conversations started. Because of course we're getting conversations started with people, but it's even better if they're the one replying to you about things and being like, oh, I love that book, or how did you make this recipe, blah, 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 blah. One thing that's really important is when they're coming to your Insta story, they should kind of know what to expect, but not know exactly what they're gonna get. So you're like a magazine. They should know if they pick up like a golf magazine, what's in it, versus if they pick up a Cosmo. You know, like they know kind of what's going to be going on, but they want to know the details. They want to know. So like for me, when people come to my page, I have a few things that I do every single day. So first thing I do is an energized TikTok with a timestamp of what time I made it. Next, I do the 6 a.m. boomerang that Alex tags me in. I do some workout clips. Later on, I'll have something about Jack, my son, maybe a little devotional clip. I'll have me pouring my Shakeology with a quote. Side note, this has been like gold for me because one of the struggles I had with Shakeology when I first started drinking it is I could never get the texture right. And so now I've mastered the texture. So I also show that, and I've had people say like, okay, how do you make it? Because mine doesn't look like that. And it starts a conversation so they can actually see that, yes, this can have a nice texture. If they're getting a weird gloopiness, let's do something about that, right? So it's always those little things. Always me talking at some point, and often me having a meal, and then other things about my life. But I'm showing my workouts, my Shakeology, my Energize, but I'm not doing it by just posting a bag of Shakeology every single day and saying, I got it in today, I got it in today. Like, they're gonna be watching for what quote I'm using, and my Energize TikTok, like people wanna know, like, what's it gonna be today? And always be varying it up between videos, boomerangs, and pictures. Go back and watch your own story. If you're not sure how the flow is going, watch it. See what you haven't done in the last few slides and do that next. If you haven't talked in a while, you need to talk. People need to hear your voice. This is not an option. Sorry, it's not. if you're not comfortable with it, get comfortable with it. It will be awkward at first if you're not used to it, but I promise you will get better. And as you're doing it, be enthusiastic, even if that's not who you are. Because people, when they're sitting there watching, they want to see enthusiasm. They don't want to just see someone sitting there talking into their phone like this and telling them about their day, because they're going to scroll right through. So even if you're not used to being enthusiastic, do it anyway. And like the second thing that does is it actually gives you more energy. It makes you a more energetic and positive person. It makes you want to smile more when you're doing it for the gram. It actually makes you happier, which is what I found. Like my energized TikToks, I've never been a morning person, and people are like, how do you have that much energy? It's because I'm not going to show up on an energized TikTok looking like death. I'm going to like put on a smile, and then it actually makes my day start great. Use filters, especially on ordinary things like food. If you're taking a picture of a meal, do not do it without a filter. And the best filters these days aren't the ones that Instagram automatically has installed. They're the ones that people create. And so the way that you get these is go to someone else's Insta story where you're like, ooh, that's a pretty filter. And if in the upper left, right underneath their name, it has like the name of a little filter, tap on that. And then at the bottom, there's a little button that says save filter. That will then save it to your phone so that before you take your video or picture, whatever, you can like go through your saved filters and see which one looks good in that lighting for that sense. So I have a couple, like my Shakeology one is always the same filter. There's other ones that you'll see have like the timestamp on them. There's one that's great that has like the date in a really pretty font with the time underneath. Like just go through. If you want, go to my stories, because I think I have some pretty bomb filters, and just go through a day or two and like save some of my filters. That's great. Share things that people tag you in if it flows. I tag my coaches in a lot of things, and I'm not offended if they don't share it, because I don't share everything I'm tagged in, but know that it will add credibility to your story. So if you're showing how you're waking up early, sharing other people waking up early just adds credibility to like, yes, I'm doing this with a team. I'm doing this with a community. If no one tags you in anything, ask them to, okay? Like it's the only weird thing is that Instagram will only allow you to tag up to 10 people. So like if they already kind of have their 10, whatever, but if you ask me, I will try to tag you at least once or twice, get you some content in there to share. Like I said, don't feel like you have to share everything, but know that it really does help. Take a few shots when something is going on, and maybe wait till the end to pick the best one. So for example, today I took a bunch of videos, a bunch of pictures when I was on the different summit things. And then I waited till the end to be like, okay, this is the perfect, I'm like trying to tell a story. What do I need to do next? Instead of trying to do it in the moment and then be missing things. It helps the flow of it. Also, it keeps you more in the moment. So like if you're at the zoo with your kids, maybe take a few videos, a few pictures here and there, and then just wait till you get home to do the story about it. Don't feel like you have to be glued to your phone doing the story then, right? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and take you through a few other more tangible things. Okay, present. Maybe. Okay. Thank you, internet, for being slow when I'm trying to share something. Okay, so we're gonna start with the basics. So for those of you who are like, I am so new to Insta stories, these are the most basic things. So as soon as you take a picture, I just took like a basic picture of nothing and it was black, you're gonna see these things at the top. So this is to exit out of it. This is to save it. I save things all the time. I personally like to take pictures and videos within Insta Story and then save them even if I'm gonna do them later, just because then I can get the filters on them. And also if you take a picture, the sizing isn't actually quite right. So yeah, so that saves it. If you hit this, it'll bring up filters afterwards, but it will only bring up the filters that like a certain few that Instagram has, not the ones you've saved. This little link thing will allow you to do the swipe up. Unfortunately, you can't do a swipe up unless you have 10K followers on just like anything you want. But I believe, at least mine, I have a business account, so I'm not sure if this is like this for all accounts, it will let me link to an IGTV. So if you have done some IGTVs, which we can talk about those later if you don't know what that is, it'll let you link to one, which is kind of cool. This little sticker is the way that you get to like the gifts, the music, and all that. This little draw thing is how you get all of these types of things. So if you pick the little draw thing, and then at the top, I should have actually done a different screenshot, but there's different arrows at the top of types of drawing things you can do. The basic one is this one. It'll just be firm. You can make it bigger or smaller with this little arrow thing on the side. There's one that'll make it a little bit more transparent. There's an eraser one that's a highlighter. And if you go to the one that makes it a little bit more transparent and then hold down on the screen, it'll turn the whole screen like this nice white if you're on white, or if you're on a solid color, it'll turn the whole screen a solid color. Obviously you can type and change text. Changing the text, you just scroll through these guys. If you hit this little guy, it'll change the background. If you hit this little guy, it'll bring up all of the different colors. You can tap the little eyedropper and then drag around your picture. And so that's how you can grab the colors from the pictures. And so that just helps make it really fluid and look nice, and so that you don't have to go with these like really bold colors. Okay, I utilize what's already given to me a ton. So obviously location, at mention, hashtags, all great. Know that you can at mention someone just with text. You don't have to use this at mention the whole time. Music. This is where I, like when I'm doing my workout clips, I use this music feature to do over the top of my stories. I personally like to do or pull up multiple pictures at the same time. So when you're in your Instagram story, in the lower left, there is a little button that will let you pull up your recent pictures. If you do that, you can select multiple ones and then kind of like edit all of them at the same time before you post them. So I like to do that and make sure the music flows. The time, we'll just take the timestamp of whatever time you took the picture or saved the picture. So that's great. GIFs make it so much fun. Just play around with that. Polls are a great way to have a call to action in your post. So if you want more information, click this poll, but always have two positives. Don't do like a yes and no, or I want it, no, I don't. Do like, I need this, or yes, send me info, right? We always want people to stay positive. Questions are great for get to know yous. Honestly, when I post questions, my people never answer them. I don't know about you guys, that's never really helpful for me, but did you know you can answer your own questions? I know it kind of defeats the purpose, but if no one's answering them and you're like, any questions about coaching? Go ahead and go in there, ask some questions yourself, and then you can share your answers to them. And quizzes are great to have multiple answers and then all of that stuff. To access these, you can either swipe up, or if you hit this little dude, that's how you get to this menu. All right, so these are some of the apps that I use and love. So the first one, these are just the what they look like. So the first one is Unfold. It's this guy, and I use it when I'm making like graphics for something specific. It has some really cool, basic layouts in there, and it's very just clean. It has some of these other fonts in there. And then when I'm doing stories like this, I also like to have half of the pictures be pictures of me because I don't want it to be too product focused. The next one is Mojo, which is sometimes how I'll do like multiple workout clips if I want it all in the same thing. It's super simple. You can add in text in there. And then for Energize, I used to use Triller. I now use TikTok. I know that Danny posted a thing about TikTok is everyone's spying on you, so I might go back to Triller. But those are just two easy ways to like create music videos type things that are just fun. You can make really quick bursts. For me, TikTok is faster. And then Triller, you like can upload pictures or videos as well, and you just kind of make a music video. I have tutorials that I've created for my team previously, so I can post those in the team page if you want an actual tutorial of how to do Triller or TikTok. And then the last app that I use a lot is called Pick, Play, Post, And that's just how I do like my before and afters, because it's great. It's a great grid system. So yeah, I didn't show that one because it's just straight up grids. Ideas of what to show in your story. Obviously, any of the products that you guys are using, Danny has said it often, people are going to want to buy from you what they see you using. If you're not showing the Energize, if you're not showing the Recover and the Shakeology, then you can't be confused why people only want the workouts if all you're ever showing and talking about are the workouts. It also makes you feel less salesy, because if you've never showed these other products, then you really are just trying to sell them on something that you've never shown to them. So show how these things are being used in your life. You know, you can show meals, your PD, whether that's like a picture of the book or like maybe read some of the content to them, or you know, take a picture of a page if you underline something. Share a post with a great quote. Don't do a million of them. Limit yourself to one a day. Your pets, your kids, time hops and throwbacks are great, because then you can also talk about like what you were thinking back then, what you were doing back then, your friends, your family, and then things that you can be talking about other than like the coaching opportunity, fears you had, whatever. Just what are you doing tonight? What's on your mind? What are you reading? What questions are you getting? What's coming up? You can literally talk about anything, you guys. And you can also use it to share your own posts, #CoachLife, just share yourself working, because if you want working coaches, you have to show yourself working and what it actually looks like to work this business. You can do ask questions, life updates, time lapse of something simple. So time lapse doesn't just have to be of your workouts. If you're sitting there like working or writing some thank you notes, you can set up your phone and do a time lapse and show it. Little things are just intriguing. And one thing I wanted to note is you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. Your people are going to love what you say. So like, don't worry about it. I like thought of a couple goals. One of them is when people meet you for the first time, or if you get on a Zoom with them, you want them to say, I feel like I already know you. The only way you're going to do that is if you're talking, if you're being real about the ups and the downs, and if you're showing both the fun stuff you're doing and the mundane. That's how like they're going to get to know you. Another goal is give it a look into your life and who you truly are. So this is beach body stuff, sure, but it's also your personality and just what you're doing to make life fun, right? And finally, use your Insta stories often, but don't let them consume your life. Do not be so distracted posting about your life that you forget to enjoy it. And then a couple other random things. I know I'm just rapid firing because half an hour, like Danny said, goes by super quick. Okay, so something that I do at least every couple times a week is I take screenshots of things. So if someone posted something that you love, or maybe someone sent you a great message, take a screenshot of it, go into the edit of your camera and like crop it in. Or if you took a screenshot of something and maybe you don't want to have like the time at the top or how much battery life you have, use the like writing over things, and you can, you know, like color over your stuff. Also something that I do is I make the tags when I tag a bunch of people, and my music thing, I shrink it with 2 fingers. I keep one on and I drag it off the screen. It'll still work if it's dragged off the screen, but then it doesn't show up as like a weird distraction. I also like to give them something to comment on, like I've talked about. And then one big thing is whenever you are talking to the camera, always make sure that you have words over the top, because probably like half of the people do not listen to Insta stories with sound on. I know half the time I don't. So if someone is talking and they don't have words, I just skip the whole thing. But words will allow those people who aren't, you know, listening with sound to still get the information. And even people who are listening with sound, they might get a little bit more information. So I usually tell them, I give them like the gist of what I'm saying, but in a slightly different way. And then Insta stories, like once you've posted it, done all that, see who is watching. Anyone who is watching your stories is pretty much giving you an open invite to talk to them. I know at first it might seem kind of weird, but it's like they're coming into your house. So if they're in your house, you're going to talk to them about what you love. I personally, if I have never messaged them before, my first message to them will be like, hey, thank you so much for watching my stories. I know it's small, but it means a lot to me. And I just wanted to let you know I appreciate it. So this kind of like starts your conversations off on a really like good note. They are like, oh, you're so welcome. And it might start a conversation or it might not. But then later on, when I see them like watching my stories more and more and I want to invite them, then I don't feel so awkward about it because I've already at least like acknowledged to them that I know they're watching my stories and that I appreciate it. And yeah, boom. That's what I had. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, take a sip of water, and check the chat.
Yeah, I think Rachel asked, how do you pull up multiple pictures to ensure the music is synced?
Okay, so when you go, hopefully you can all see this, or let me go back. Okay, so I just pulled up my video. If you go down in the lower left, boop, that's when it'll pull up your recent pictures. Then in the upper right, there's this circle with a box and another thing behind it. If you hit that, that's the select multiple. And then you can select a whole bunch of things and click next. Then it will bring them up and it'll show you all of them that you have. And so then when I do the music on each one, I just listen for it. Or you can like look at the time and see how far it was, but I personally just like to listen for it and say like, all right, this last one, where did it end? All right, next one, I'm gonna see where it started, then I'll go back, listen. Yes, that worked. And that's how I do it. How do you master the texture of Shakeology? There's more, oh wait, you guys already answered that. Frozen bananas, avocado. Also, how good of a blender you have makes a big difference. I used to have a crappy blender. Now I have a Ninja and I use the little like single serve one. Also the different, like water is different from almond milk and it's different from regular milk. All of those have different textures, and then how much you add versus how little you add, how much ice. Also, if you add a ton of ice, it makes it more like grainy and gritty. Yep. Cool. Any other questions? Did you guys learn anything? Hopefully. I love Insta stories. They're like my jam, and I have a blast making them.
Does anyone have any questions for Hannah? Anything about Insta stories that you want to know?
You are welcome, Rachel. If you guys ever have questions, reach out to me. Send me a message. I don't bite. I'm happy to share anything that I'm doing. Yeah. And then also, I am happy to always share, like if I make something for MBF or something like that, I'm always happy to share that stuff as well. The best way to do it, especially if it has a video in it, is through Facebook Messenger for me. So I just need to know that you want it and I can send that to you so that you get the high res version of it. And also Unfold, that first app that I talked about, that one allows you to put videos into it in a very clean way. Oh, and another thing that I didn't mention on here, the way that I get videos often is I will go to YouTube. I will do a screen recording of the YouTube video. So like, I don't know if you guys know this, at least, oh, here's a picture of my little son today. He is like the cutest thing ever. If you swipe down this little record button, that one, it'll count down 3, 2, 1, and then it will record anything that you do. So if I go up, if I scroll, if I go into YouTube, whatever, then I can hit that button again. If I go to my pictures, everything that was up on my screen is now a video. Okay, so that is one way that I will create my own content. So I'll go to YouTube, I'll play a video and just let it record, and then I'll crop it, do whatever. And that's a great way to like take things and make things and do cool stuff like that. Boom, ended early. Nailed it.
Any questions on anything that she did? Fonts, colors, pictures, Triller, anything?
Oh, when taking a video of you working out, how long do you record? Does that matter? No, unless you're doing a time lapse. If you're doing a time lapse, you do want to break it up into a few videos, because if you do an entire half-hour workout in one time lapse, it'll make it super short. So I personally like to do, at least right now, I'll do time lapses and I'll break it up into maybe like 5 or 6 little chunks of the time lapse. And then I'll personally go into the edit feature of my iPhone and just pull clips from that. Some people like to use apps to do that. I personally just use my iPhone's edit setting to take clips from my video. Oh, but one thing, this is actually big. Anytime that you are doing a video, especially of your workouts, I recommend that you do not take a clip that's more than 8 seconds long, maybe 10. It will allow you to do 15 seconds on your Insta stories, but no one wants to watch the same move for 15 seconds. And it does not take people 15 seconds to read your thing. So I have found, at least for me, the sweet spot is around 8 seconds. And that'll keep people engaged instead of just being like, oh, this is taking too long, she needs to hurry up. So 8 seconds for me. Don't go the full 15. Too long. Do you know how to screenshot scroll? I don't know what that means, Rachel. And yes, Megan, I typically record the majority of the workout. Like if I know that I'm repeating the same set 3 times, I'll just record one set. I don't need the whole thing. But I try to take as few breaks from my workout as possible to hit the button. But yeah. Cut stories is great for that. No, Alex, I don't know how to get the music feature if you don't have it. Sorry. How do you decide what words do you share or things you talk about over your workout videos? That's a great question. Multiple ways. I don't often actually talk about my workout like itself over my thing. I do every once in a while how I was feeling, but the majority of the time, I take a second, I pause. Often I'll actually pray and say, God, is there anything you want to say? I'll see if any like encouragement or motivation comes to mind. If so, I'll use that. If not, I'm like, okay, what's something I'm personally learning? If nothing works with that, I'll go pick a song first, see what song kind of speaks to me. And often the lyrics of the song is like, oh, boom, this is what I want to talk about today. So yeah, like today, the first song that popped up was called Overcomer. And I was like, I can talk about how I'm overcoming things, you know? So I try to keep my things motivational. I'll also use that opportunity to talk about things that are coming up or objections people have, because they're already going to be watching my story and seeing what the workout is. So might as well tackle objections or things that you would be talking about later on anyway. Oh, one other thing that I forgot to note is with the whole congruency of the story, think about what's coming next. So like anytime Alex does the 6 a.m. boomerang, if I know it's a leg day, I will like go far away and make my me like doing this, because then when she tags me, I know I'm going to say it's leg day on the thing, right? If I'm going to do like a 10 rounds workout, I'll pretend I'm boxing. Like know what you're going to be using and make it a congruent story if you can. Oh, one other thing, guys, I keep remembering things and we're almost out of time, but things like this call, do your own video, okay? Find a pretty filter, do the slow pan, right? Like people do, because then when you tag it and it's shared, it makes it so much better when people are sharing all these different like rooms that they're in, right? It's not as convincing if everyone ends up sharing the exact same picture or boomerang that Danny takes. It's great that she shares that and has that as a backup, but it's way better if like I have different people's like boomerangs or Zooms or whatever. So anytime you're on your own team call or on a team call, like do your own picture or video or whatever, put music behind it, put some words over it, and then tag your people. Don't just rely on the picture or boomerang that Danny takes. Yep, different angles showing that we're all doing this. I'll probably remember like 10 more things as soon as we're done, but that's it.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording.